Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Thunder effects from SH Figure Arts. These are, or I guess you can call them Effect Thunder because that's what the packaging has. So here's the packaging real quick. This is the packaging for the yellow version, which shows you that the packaging is the same for the yellow and blue version other than that. It's not the best packaging in the world, I have to say. It's a giant box. Let me move these out of the way. Apparently they didn't want to break the things down too much, but it's a really big box, so if you're a person that saves boxes, good luck keeping this somewhere without it being in the way, especially if you buy more than one. But it's okay, I guess. It has a big window, but you can't really see too much of the product inside just because it's rather thin product and a lot of plastic in there. It's alright. I'm not one to really care about packaging that much, just for those of you that do. And then you do have some posing options for both the blue and the yellow, and the directions for how it works, but I'm going to go over that so we can get rid of that right now and talk about these right now. They are both identical in mold and design other than the colors, so we're going to just use one of them once we get the specific stuff out of the way. They stand roughly 9.5 inches, with the tallest part connected, by the way. You can break that down and I'll show you that, which makes them about 24 centimeters. General width is about 15 centimeters, which makes it about 6 inches. And we have some varying parts, but first I'll just show you the two different colors. We have the blue, obviously, which has a really nice crystally clear blue with the white frosting on there, and it's the same throughout. If it'll focus. It's the same throughout, so I'll just show you the one piece specifically for the color. And then for the yellow, we have the really nice translucent clear yellow with the frosting on that. I think the yellow one actually looks a little bit better just because the yellow's kind of lighter and the white frosting looks good. And in some places on this, the white frosting looks a little bit too heavy and it throws off the blue just a little bit. Personal opinion, but they still both look awesome. So which one should we use to review? I think we're gonna go with blue because blue's my favorite color. Alright, so we have like 3 main parts and then 3 little parts that connect to it. So the first is this core piece, which is made up of, let's get the camera back here, made up of 3 pieces. We have the base, which will sit flat, as you just saw. We have the middle piece and then the very top piece, which makes it come to a point. So this can come off and can be pegged onto a display stage. So if you want to have somebody shooting just a single bolt of lightning or a little bit of a spark coming out of their hand, you can do that. You can probably even wedge it onto a finger or something, but it's made to work with a display stage. So we have that. Then we have the middle piece, which you can leave it just like this if you want to, but you get a little nubbin at the top. You can pull this off. Be careful, don't just yank from this. Pull from down here. And it comes right off, and this can connect to a display stage right here from the side. So you can either peg it in at an angle to hold it up, or you can peg it in like this, or do whatever you want. So if you want a little bit of lightning, you can do that. And if you want just like a flat splat of lightning, you can use just this base, just the bottom part. This one does have a peg hole in the bottom also, so you can pretty much peg all of these in, not pretty much, you can peg all of these main pieces into a display stage. Then we have these 3 other pieces, which are clip-on pieces. They are all different sculpts, so we have this one which is kind of like a 3-prong, this one which is 2, this one which is a different 2, and they all have these kind of clips on the bottom, which will snap around a figure's wrist or over their hand, kind of like if you go between their fingers like that. So those are really useful. And then what you want to do with these, if you're trying to build the whole thing, which I can show you on here since it's all together, these have specific places you can peg them onto. It's not super obvious, but you can slide that little clip part onto these thicker chunks like this, and they'll kind of just wedge in place, if I can do it on camera. So there's one, and you can't really tell it's a separate piece once it's on, so it's pretty cool. It just gives you kind of like a bigger arc effect. Here's the other one right here, pegged onto this piece, and you can wedge them on however you want to really, but they seem to have specific places where they want you to peg them on. And then this one will go onto here, which will snap on like that, so you get the full lightning effect. And if you're curious about size, let me pull the camera back again, because even though there's not a ton of plastic here, but they kind of take up a lot of space. Here's Raiden. Since we'd have him out from doing the review not that long ago, you could set him right here and have all kinds of lightning going on. and that would work. I guess it'd be better to use blue, but it's disassembled. So he can do that, or like I said, we can take the parts off and just snap them on to his wrist if you wanted to. And this is just going to show you that it'll work with a smaller import figure or a larger domestic figure. So obviously this isn't a great pose, but you get the idea, and I'll have poses at the end. You can snap the lightning onto him around his wrists or ankles or anywhere it'll fit, which is cool. Or you can do, like I said, and snap it on around his fingers, something like this. Now, of course, I'm just throwing it on there for you to see real quick, but if you wanted to, you could do that, and it creates a really nice effect. So I do like these things. They look cool, and I can see them being very versatile. You could use them for Dragon Ball Z figures, Kamen Rider, Marvel Legends, basically any figure within the 5.5 to 6 inch range. You shouldn't have too much trouble with them. And they look really nice. They seem to be, for what they are, a bit pricey, and I'm assuming it's just because of all the molding that takes place. But they're going to be recoloring these, I'm sure, and selling a buttload of different colors. So I don't know, I guess maybe a little bit pricey, but I think they're probably worth at least picking up a couple, because you're going to be able to make much nicer looking displays. So I do recommend them. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.